So, long awaited. At least that's been for me. I've thought about doing this for a long time, and so it finally has come the time to pull the trigger, so to speak. Now that I'm sitting here, it feels very naked, very exposing, and it feels very revealing to be here. It feels like I'm stepping out into the world, and I give people the opportunity to judge me for who I am, which is entirely the point. The point is to step out into the world. Recently, I've started reading the Bible. I come from a very believing family, but I've never believed myself. But I've started reading the Bible because reading the Bible, I've realized has, enabled me to, get to know my parents better. And one of the things that they say there in some scripture, I don't remember which one, and when I heard it many times, and I've heard it many times, in pop culture and so on, is he who asks shall receive, he who seeks shall find, and he who knocks will see the door opened. And so this is what it is. This is knocking on the door. This is asking. This is seeking. And to be very transparent, it's very scary. It feels scary to, put yourself out to the world. And don't get me wrong, I couldn't care less about the people that I know from a past life or the people that, might know of me. Because whatever they think of me is entirely inconsequential to my existence and my being. What I am afraid of is the people that are close to me, and the people that I want in my corner, if the way that they view me changes to the worse. I've been training for 5 years now, and I've come to realize that there are two kind of people in this space. They are the ones who, carry this interest on their sleeve. They show to everyone and to everything that this is what they do, this is who they are. And, everyone knows them as the guy who trains. And that is one person. And many times I think that is overplayed. I don't think that anyone really is that way. There must be more to a human being than just being that. But then there's the other side of the spectrum, where you have people that not hide who they are, but they keep it under wraps as much as possible, because they realize that this dream they have, this passion, is very niche. It's not broadly accepted, and they know that if they share it with the world, then there are people out there who, not by attempt, but just by existence, will extinguish that. And so you keep it under wraps. You keep the circle very close as to who knows what. And I think that I'm one of those. So who I am is not this. This is not who I am. Who I am is someone who's relentlessly ambitious, who will, there's no amount of time I'm not willing to put in. There's no amount of effort I'm not willing to exert. There's no amount of people that I'm not willing to, cut out of my life. I am integrous. I don't do fake. I'd rather do nothing at all than to do fake. I'd rather be alone than to be with people that I don't want to be with, or who don't want to be with me. And I find my own company very amusing. That is who I am. And this is the conduit in which I express it through. That is all. And this conduit will change over the course of my life, no doubt. It has to. But for now, this is it. For now, this is what I express myself through. And if the people who watch this and who I hold close and hold dear, don't accept that or ridicule me or whatsoever, then so be it. It wasn't meant to be anyways. Again, it got a bit deep there for a first YouTube video, but it's the truth. So the plan for today is to train upper. I almost started going into my own splits and why I'm training upper today. But I realized that doing that will just make me like everyone else. I will just become redundant, speak about stuff that's already been spoken about 100 times before. What I don't want to do with this channel is to speak about the difference between a quad bias stance and a glute bias stance. I don't want to speak about a difference between a lat row and an upper back row. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is to be someone that I would have wanted to watch, maybe even right now, but definitely 3 to a year ago. Someone that I can draw some inspiration from, but mostly someone that I can draw practical and applicable knowledge from. And so that is what I'll do. So the session is as follows. I think it's my first time doing this, so either be here or be here. First, we have upper. So I'll do a pec fly, then I'll do a Nautilus high incline press. I'll do a dip. After that, I go over to a T-bar. I'll then do a lat pull down, true lat pull down. After I do a lat row, single arm, I'll do a tricep push down, and I'll do a calf raise. I'll probably put in some posing at the end, or at least some poses. I'm too fat to do a full round, and for it to look not hideous. And then I'll do some HIIT after that. I also have a deep volume session today, and I think that I'll delve into that deeper throughout the session. But the plan is to keep it pretty raw, both for it to be a bit more authentic, but also for ease of editing for a newbie such as myself. So that is the plan for today, at least. So hope you enjoy this. Hope you enjoy everything that is to come. There are exciting things in the pipeline. So one could argue that would take away from my subsequent presses, which it definitely will, no doubt. It will. But there's something to be said about isolating a weak body part before attacking it with the heavy stuff. If one is to use that kind of language, that kind of... So what I want to say is that many people in this generation, the TikTok generation, have had an inaccurate entrance into this. They have, seen people like Jordan, and they have adopted that style of training, but they have missed entirely what it's all about. So Jordan preaches is to have an approach of progressive stimulus. They have a fixed frame in which you perform within, and then you progress that over time. So regardless if this comes first, the overhead press comes first, the dip comes first, it's a fixed frame. You progress within that. But being able to isolate something first, have few joints involved, we load it through the underarm, through the forearm. Being able to do that, be able to get it short with nothing that limits it, and to be loaded there and progress that over time is very valuable. And as you see, it's not like a 15 kilo pec deck. There is a lot of weights and there is scope to push. So to be able to progress the overload, it's not an issue. In addition to that, being able to get it short early on, being able to get blood in there. I mean, the subsequent presses and the internal stimulus of those is massive. So I can get a lot more out of the same weights in the subsequent presses because of this. And just as a cherry on top, the cost of this is extremely low. So that's why. Remember me, bro. Remember me. About the Bible before. I know that some people watch that. I think that a coach will watch this and he will be afraid. He'd be afraid that I'll lose myself in the forest of my own psyche. I assure you, I will not. I will not do such a thing. So first that I had a bit more focus on the pause. Won't be able to do that throughout all three of these sets. So this one is get into the under edges and get out. No fucking about though. No fucking about. Best believe. Last set here, and being able to pause on short now it's not an option. I'll pause on length and then I'll make the most out of the weights. And we will really emphasize. Progress. Happy with that. I need to be aware of my overall torso position and my rib cage because I can be compressed by this. But overall very happy. I progressed this from I think 3.5. I was at like 4.5 initially. That was very, very scrappy. and I progressed it, and then, I reset it to 3.5, and I progressed it from there. And ever since I did that, I've always felt mega. That felt mega. But yeah, I can see this being 6 plates. I feel it. I dream about it. I visualize it. And we'll have a top line to show for it come next spring. So, 2 hours and 5 minutes post the last protein feeding, and it's time to consume the Intra Up 18 grams. Going to the Swedish audience, I said that mango lemonade was my favorite, that I never drift away from the mango lemonade. But the pear apple, something else, really. Progress. Happy with that. I need to be aware of my overall torso position and my rib cage, because I can be compressed by this. But overall, very happy. I can see this being 6 plates. I feel it. I dream about it. I visualize it. And we'll have a top line to show for it come next spring. So, 2 hours and 5 minutes post the last protein feeding, and it's time to consume the Intra Up 18 grams. Going to the Swedish audience, I said that mango lemonade was my favorite, that I never drift away from the mango lemonade. But the pear apple, something else, really. Like I said with the high incline, what stands between me and being very competitive on that stage is my pressing and everything that comes along with that. So like taking that 6 plates aside,
6.5, taking this dip to 80, 90, 100 is what is needed. And is what will be done during this push-up. It's so vivid in the mind. People speak about dreaming, about visualizing. To me, it's not in the future, it's in the past. It's like a memory, more than it does a dream. And I think that if you get good at that, then he who asks shall receive. Good. About giving value to my past self, something that I think I would have had value from is that deloads are actually a way to step forward. Not just in the way that everyone speaks about, that you drop fatigue and you come back stronger, but in the fact that I usually have the back off as well in the Nautilus. And that of course costs, something I have to pay back. And last time around I had 45 and I got 5.5 reps. I also was like a kilo lighter. So being able to do this without doing the back off set the Nautilus, I was able to do 50 for 6 if I didn't miscount. And so I've stepped forward there. So next session when I'm back in, and hopefully I'm back to regular volume, I will have already touched 50 for 6. And so that weight will feel much lighter because I've already done it. And be able to adapt to a weight that you've already done, but doing it under different circumstances is much easier than having to, press forward and to touch this new weight for the first time. And so that's something of value about deloads. It's not just dropping fatigue. It's also about being able to touch new weights fresher and be able to progress them. And then maintain that progression once you get back to normal volume. Hate this fucking song. Neanderthal. So I'll do both the top set and back off set here, purely because I enjoy it and because I connect extremely well with it. I get a lot out of this movement. I think it's one of the reasons why my upper back looks the way it looks, to be honest. The dangerous thing about always being nuanced is that you can justify anything. You can justify beating a child. It's all about context. It's all about context. So, you could argue that it's best to leave this out because of the weight that I'm able to move and how it affects me. But one could also argue what I'm arguing. Again, it's all about nuance. There's no right, there's no wrong. If you do it well, that is.
så har vi ingenting att säga här. Det var lite det jag ville liksom landa i. Men ska man säga någonting så kanske det skulle vara fucking hell, bro. Jag tror inte att det är någon annan som kan göra detta. Och då har vi också en hel del runway i detta.
This movement I have a bit of issues with. It's been a work in progress for a while. I have issues staying externally rotated on the way up, keeping it on the lats, and I have difficulty in getting fully tucked in and depressed with my scapula and my shoulders in the contraction. So, and all this while keeping alignment. I mean, this isn't ideal for alignment because wherever you twist and turn, you will end up in kind of this position at the bottom when the weight is pulling you up, basically. So alignment is a bit off no matter how you spin it. But that is what I'll be focusing on this set to get the most from this movement. The session is reaching its end. It doesn't mean that we switch off, but I just want to take the time to say that I'm very thankful for everything. I mean, I've had some minor roadblocks these past few weeks, but everything is ticking on in the gym. I feel like I'm getting closer to my goals every day. I feel a self-actualization in the making. And so I think it's important to both, it's most importantly acknowledge times where things are going away. It's easy to be negative and to complain when you get sick or when things aren't going away, right? But when you do have momentum, I would just be thankful for it.